We are beginning to see now how very afraid globalists are of intrinsic identity. This conspiracy, this transing of everything is becoming very, very sinister, because it talks about the worship of the image and false prophecies and false prophets in the end times. It talks about war against the seed. It talks about some very amazing things that we're not being told by the church, for the reason that it also says in the true gospel that in the end days the church will not be adhered to, and the people within it will not be representing the true religion. Now this should be a ray of hope even for people out there who don't want to take up the Christian faith or believe in it because of what they've seen or what they feel. But the humanist type element that's being exploited now, of the very lowest kind, means that we don't have any connection to the divine really much, and we're being reduced lower and lower, almost like animals now. Right, so what we can do about it is to be aware that they are using the dissection of the image, the denaturing of image. False image is what they want, because it's more saleable than intrinsic. They've always hated communism. Communists and consumerists are amalgamated now through cultural Marxism. Babylon, disgusting kind of elite riding the beast. Both pretty similar, both very mixed up and amoral and not divine. So they want to take away this connection that we feel to the divine because it gives us power that they can't control. The same reason they persecuted Jesus. He had a power that came from somewhere else that they couldn't control. They know that this empire is very powerful, that it's the fourth empire spoken of in the book of Daniel. They're building this temple in Israel. They're trying to aim for it. I mean, Bush with his Gog-Magog war spoke very clearly to Chirac about it being an end times war. This is what they're trying to do, and they'll leave Europe in ruins and call back the chosen to the Holy Land. What can we do? We can read and learn as much as we can about this. We can refuse to allow them to write us off as conspiracy theorists. We can just read as much as you can. The book of Jude is only 2 pages. In last days there will be scoffers, flattering others for advantage, rootless, it says again, feeding only themselves, waves of foam, uprooted, twice dead. Many interesting things. It's only 2 pages long. Just give it a read. And read about Babylon's payback, because it's very profound with what's happening in Brexit, and they're saying we're going to be left naked. Because that's what they say about Babylon. Come out of her, the great city that traded throughout the earth, lest you share her sins, mother of all prostitutes and perverts. And this fits in again, as I said, the image, the integral reproductive image has been removed and now replaced by image that is youth culture, because nobody's interested in reproducing. Image is just something that you play with. What you see is just not how a person is at all, is it? So why bother reproducing? It's just an image you can change and play with. Whereas nature didn't devise it that way. Nature is like a flower. It gives a signal to reproduce to the right kind of pollinators. But they don't want that, because communism has always hated national identity, strong national identity, and it's tried to destroy it in Holodomor, and it's tried to destroy it wherever it reaches. Cultural Marxism has joined with this form of communism now. They've become one, which I say is Babylon riding the beast. Babylon the Great has fallen. Great Britain, America the Great, it's pretty much one and the same. And we're expecting a payback now for our previous glory, let's say, the empire that ruled over the world. It says would pay her back for what she's taken, for in her heart she says, I sit as queen. Talking about a very pompous nation, which is like Babylon, which is like us in some ways. We're saying here we sit as queen, we will never know mourning. That's what it says as prophetic words. Yet in 1 hour she was paid back. I just want people to be aware, for all the good it's going to do. I don't know what to expect. The dragon stood in front of the woman to devour her child before it was born. But there are two conflicting females in the book of Revelations, one who lives in the wilderness and one who is the city. But one who lives in the wilderness is loved has a place prepared by God, and the earth loves her, as well as a flood. Well, the floods are very prophetic as well, aren't they, through water levels and things in the atmosphere changing so much. So all of this is very prophetic. I just ask you to read. You might go nuts when you first read it and if you really absorb it, but it's quite incredible stuff. Don't laugh at people who talk about it. These times are very profound. Nothing in authority can be trusted. It's all a shell. It's all an image. It's all reputation. is hollowed out. You know we can't trust people like Boris. You know we can't trust these people to deliver. They're only faking it because faking it is what's demanded on the higher echelons, just to get along with each other. They don't want anything intrinsic. The more the outside are faking it, the more accepted. They don't have anybody in their ranks who really represents grassroots. That's for a reason, because they fear us as pitchfork carriers, you know, who might cause trouble, who might, you know, sort of stop the scheme and, you know, start standing up and saying, talking about folk heroes and folk devils and victimhood that's going on, and oppression, the fact people can't afford to have houses anymore. You know, all of these things have such a subtle effect on the next generation that will be kind of in existence, and yeah, going to sort of see the end of this kind of civilization. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm waffling, but I want to come back soon.